Welcome to the living room where we are on opposite sides of the couch.
No reason other than whimsy.
Scott would never change anything about anything, and so this was my idea. He did say that side is taller.
It is. So if you've noticed before, Amanda probably was a little taller than me. She has a long torso.
I do.
So now I am now taller than her.
Okay. Well, congratulations. Okay, what's going on?
It feels
And
like
make it interesting.
it
You
feels
know they have a short attention span.
16
16
seconds are long
seconds.
since elapsed. So it feels like things are picking up in the real estate world. I don't know if that's interesting or not to anybody, but what we're finding to be true is that people have been waiting forever for interest rates to go down, and they're not going to, not at any sort of rapid rate. And so people have realized that you can still buy a house and it's not terrible, and so they're doing it.
Yeah. Some listings coming up for us.
Yep.
And people looking for houses. So I don't know. I told Scott the other day, it's interesting to me how like something happens like as a collective. Like how does the people know that we're just gonna stop looking for houses for a while?
Yeah, and it's not like there's been
So
some
weird.
like huge event that we can point to and say, well, this happened in the government or whatever. And I mean, I don't even watch the news, so I don't know if anything happened or not. But I mean, it's just like all of a sudden.
I believe it was last week. It's like the busiest time or the best time to buy a house in the world.
Like historically.
Historically, yeah.
Yeah, just so if you
But
look
that's according to the internet.
yeah, the internet doesn't lie. And according to trends, this sounds, again, everything we say often sounds self-serving, but we're not that kind of people, but according to trends, this is the time that you get deals because people who are selling houses are more willing to negotiate because they don't want to sell a house or list a house and have people coming through during the holidays. And so right now is a time that they are, and that's what we think is the reason, and I think there's probably some evidence to that, but they don't want to go through the holidays with their house unsold, and so they're more likely to not give it away, but to negotiate favorably for a buyer.
So there are two properties in Clinton that I've seen a lot of action. 8 Ridgeway Place and 305 Linda Drive. Okay, both are priced well below anything. And we've said this before. Some people believe it. Some people just, they're not watching us.
I think that's most people.
Or they just don't know like what prices normally are. Mm-hmm. So if you see a 3,000 square foot house in Clinton for $208,000, there's a reason. If you see a 4-bedroom house in Clinton, in Cascades neighborhood for $145,000, there's a reason.
And it's been on the market for 9 months.
Yeah.
You didn't just find some secret gem.
And so we have gone in those a bunch. And it's pretty interesting. Both have foundation problems, pretty significant. So that scares some people, doesn't scare others. But both of these require a lot of work. The Linda house, the one that's 3,000 square feet, you walk up, you look at the outside, and you're like, oh, this is going to be good. And then you walk inside.
And you say, oh,
this could be good. But it has lots of issues. So many so that it will not go normal, like conventional loans. It's going to have to be either cash or a construction loan. And so you're talking pretty big renovations, and everybody doesn't have the appetite for that.
Appetite or the ability, because it's not something you can buy and move into and do the work. It's going to be an absolute mess for a while. And so if you have a house to sell, you can't, in order to buy, you can't sell that house and move into this one and then do the work because there's going to be giant holes in the floor. And it's going to take a while to get it to a spot where you could live in it. And so unless you have some sort of temporary finance or housing in between the two,
Or you don't have to sell your house to buy another one.
then it's a possibility for you.
Yeah, so it's a big house. It's got lots of potential. I really want somebody to buy it, but it's got to be somebody. It's just not for everybody. It's not like a slight renovation project.
Yeah, and it sounds like there's a lot of downsides in this house, but there is so much potential in this house too, if somebody can do it right and has the appetite, like Amanda said, for a big renovation.
And then yesterday we went in a house, and it's like early mid 90s, and it is a great house. I actually said, "Oh, I could live in here," and I was like, "Oh, I think I really like 1990s houses." There's room there. It's not all one room, which some people love all one room. Some people like a few walls, and it needs updating for sure. No, could you put your stuff in there and live in it and never update it? Yes. And so I don't know. I think people can get focused on like the new, the bright and shiny, the new, which those are great houses. They really are. We have touted them and said, "Hey, this is easy. Let's go do that route." But then there's something nice about, I don't know, an older house, like the 90s houses. I like that. I like the feel of it. I guess maybe it's more nostalgic for me.
Yeah. And if you are someone who likes new and great, but also likes to have a little bit bigger house, then these are houses that might be an option for you as well, because that renovation loan we talked about before for this house that really needed work could also be something you use to update an older house with a lot of space in it. And so you could end up paying as much as you would for a new house, but have a lot bigger house that's completely updated.
Yeah. Okay.
And we have a question?
Question.
Here we go.
Question. Scott, what would you tell someone who reached out to you to schedule going to see a house, someone we haven't met, and they said, I don't really think I need a real estate agent to help me with this?
Sure.
Hypothetically speaking.
It's never happened before. But we, just full disclosure, we have some paid online leads, and we get calls all the time. And we got one this week from a buyer who wanted to see a house. And a lot of times when people are calling through these online portals, they don't know that they're not dealing with the person listing the house. They often think they're talking to the seller's agent. And so this guy wanted to schedule a showing of a property. And, if you're not aware, we have to have some forms signed before we can go see a property. And so I was explaining that. And he's like, well, I really, I bought several houses. I like to do it unrepresented. I don't really need an agent, et cetera. And I had to clarify my relationship to him, that I'm not affiliated with the seller, and talk to him that I would be his representative for this house. And he was kind of balking at that, because I think there's this notion that you can get a deal if you don't use an agent. And
that is not true.
Not generally. And so also, I think some people don't value what we can provide because they don't fully know all we provide. Sometimes they just see us as somebody who unlocks a door for them. But what's true, and I think what we're seeing, especially now with online, everybody can go find houses themselves, and that's fine. We encourage it. That you don't need an agent when one of the greatest values we can provide is risk mitigation. We have done this so many times. We know all the pitfalls, and we know how to guide you through the landmines that can be buying or selling a house, so you don't have this massive mistake and regret just because you didn't know what you didn't know. And so I encouraged him to consider the fact that he would not be saving money, because often what happens is when a listing agent goes and secures a property that they're going to sell, they work out the total commission on the front end.
For the selling agent and the agent who represents the buyers.
Yeah, so many times sellers are going to provide the compensation for the buyer's agent, because buyers don't often have the ability to pay their agent. And which they're paying the seller, so it's all coming from the buyer. But you know what I'm saying. So there's this notion that if I don't have a buyer's agent, that's 2.5%, 3%, whatever that I could possibly save on the purchase of this house, when honestly that money is probably just going to go to the listing agent if the buyer is unrepresented. And so
you're not saving any money, and you have nobody who's looking out for your best interest, because the seller's agent is looking out for the homeowner's best interest.
and that's their job.
That's their
to do that.
job.
It's not like they're being unscrupulous or anything like that. They'll still deal with you fairly. But
hopefully, though. We hope so.
Hopefully they're required to. But you never know. And what's true is if there's ever any sort of conflict, they're always going to side with who is their boss in that transaction, which is the seller. And so you don't have an advocate for you. You don't have someone who knows how to avoid problems, to negotiate on your behalf, to remove the emotion from the equation, because that's part of what we're there to do too, is to be a buffer between all the parties involved and to keep things professional and to help you make decisions detached from emotion. So I would say, don't do it. Long story short, don't do it.
I saw a quote yesterday that said, buying a house without using an agent is like cutting your own hair. You can do it, but everybody knows you did it yourself.
That's a great.
And so I think there are sometimes, before we were agents, did it for sale by owner. And so there are certainly success stories. I feel less inclined to be like, you should use an agent when it's two people who are unrepresented. If there's one person who's represented,
There's an extra syllable on there.
if there's one party in the group that has representation, both parties should have representation. There's absolutely no reason not to.
Yeah, that's true. Now, if you're completely off market buying a house that is for sale by owner, you may save some money, but you may also put yourself in extreme risk.
It's true. And I believe there's numbers to back up that for sale by owners don't actually save any money.
Yeah, they.
That's a big generalization that I just said, but
well, no, and this number is a few years old, but a couple of years ago, NAR had a statistic that said that houses that are listed on average sold for 11% higher than houses that were for sale by owner, which is double almost what you would pay agents to in a transaction. So,
So use agents, guys.
Use a good agent.
Use a good agent. Please. There's lots of good agents.
These agents.
Use these agents. Use another really good agent.
If you've watched this video this far, hopefully you would be somebody that would use us.
If you wouldn't, please tell us why not. Yeah. Okay. So that I can have a 30-second clip.
You need a sound bite.
I need a sound bite, please, Scott. What would you tell somebody who's thinking about not using a real estate agent when they're buying a house?
That they are potentially exposing themselves to massive risk at no savings to themselves whatsoever. Is that enough?
That is perfect. All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.